What is up, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Swing for the Fences show. We're talking MLB DFS. I'm your host, JSU. I got the heavy hitters with me today. We got DC, we got Big T, but we got to start out. Don't forget, guys, hit that like button. I already see the likes are going up as I'm speaking, but hit that like button, hit the subscribe button if you want to get notified every single time we come on with these free videos, which is every day. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. We got a nice 12-game MLB slate to talk about. So I got the right guys with me. Starting out, my boy DC. DC, what's up?
Not too much, man. Yeah, excited for this pretty tasty 12-gamer. And, you know, it's a nice little Tuesday. Anytime we got Big Platoon, we got Khabib on the show, it's gonna be a good one. So I'm excited to talk some DFS baseball today.
Yeah, I mean, before we get to Big Platoon, I mean, Steve in the chat, Steve Boyan, we need Holden. That's hurtful. Steve, that's hurtful, all right? We don't need Holden for this show.
Holden's in a very entertaining Twitter war at the moment, so the Discord is popping off about it.
Yeah, keep him on Twitter. Big T, talk to this man real quick.
Yeah, I mean, that's just terrible. We need Holden. I mean, no, that's first of all, that's probably the first time anyone's ever said those words. We need Holden. Like, there's no way anyone's ever said that, but
if you want Holden, don't worry. You'll get plenty of them. He'll be on the next two shows. So don't worry. You'll get plenty of Holden.
That's the worst news I've ever heard right there.
Yeah, that's a first for sure. I mean, that broke the string. But anytime I'm on with these guys, I think we were on last Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever day it was, us three were on last week. It's always fun to be on, like DC said, with Habib and then the pitcher expert. I mean, it's great when you're the third best in the room. I love being the third best.
Ooh, the pitcher expert. So I want to start right there because DC, I'm pretty sure you were trying to talk Tony along, a certain pitcher, and Big T wasn't listening.
Who?
Talk about that real quick, because I heard it on the podcast a little. I heard it in the Discord.
From yesterday?
Yes. You know who I'm talking about.
Well, I mean, Mitch Keller. I mean, come on, Big T.
Oh, you're talking about
that's somehow worse than your Brent Suter one-inning pitcher recommendation. You know, I was looking at pitching today, kind of on the podcast with G Rison, getting ready for the day's slate. And first thing I did, I saw I was on the show with Big T. I immediately scrolled down to the bottom of the DraftKings pitcher salaries to see if there was any 4K guys that were going to throw an inning that Big T could play. Unfortunately, none there. You might have to go with, I don't know, maybe an Antonio Senzatella in Coors Field, possibly a Bryce Wilson. I could see a couple Big T specials down there.
The best part about this whole thing is, so Big T's on the Up to Lock show with me and Holden had his main bet was like, I don't know, the Reds first five or something like that. So Holden the whole time is pretty much cheering for the Reds to obviously score runs and get hits, and Big T is sweating out Mitch Keller. So Big T is just like hating Holden on this show right now because Holden is constantly just like rooting against Big T's guy.
I mean, who just roots against people either with his little $50 wager, just rooting against us? I would never do that to another partner.
It was hurtful, right, Big T? Very hurtful.
It did hurt my feelings. And then right after he started doing it, my boy got blown up. He made it through three. He was through 3 innings. He had like 18 pitches through 3 innings rolling. And then Holden brought that negativity.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, though, there is something to be said to bringing just the negative vibe or mojo to a good spot where a guy is somewhat rolling, and he's not supposed to be, and you want to stay quiet, right, Big T? I know Big T. He wanted to stay quiet. He didn't want to say nothing too early because, he knows what's going on. And then all of a sudden, Holden just kills it and just ruins the moment.
And it makes it even worse, though, because I'm watching it on the TV, and he's like 20 seconds ahead of me. So when he starts rooting, I know the pain's coming. It's like just knowing that River's going to beat you.
That is brutal. I think I would have pulled my internet plug and got off the show at that point.
All right. Well, we got a new slate to talk about. We'll have a new Mitch Keller to talk about because I know
I had Baranzell last night in basketball for a donut too. It was a good night. It was a good night.
They were coming after you on Twitter for that. They're trying to cancel Big T. What's going on there? You can't cancel
my feelings. It was a hurtful day. We got to rebound.
You cash. What more do they want?
All I know, DC, is at the end of the day, his lineup was in the green and people were still making fun of him. Like, I don't understand that.
I did want to ask. I haven't really watched basketball since baseball started, so it's been like almost a month and a half for me over here. is Anderson Varejao like a real? Is he like back in the league?
I mean, he played. How many minutes did he play the day before, JSU? 18?
I think 17 or something, like 15 or 17. Yeah, so
Like-
he played.
Yeah, I saw that winning lineup, and there's like 4 guys in there who I didn't recognize. The NBA changes quickly.
Yesterday was one of those days for sure. There was a bunch of names.
I'm not even going to go into NBA because we could get into the whole thing where JSU is trying to talk Tony off the Varejao ledge. But it doesn't matter.
No.
He cashed. His main lineup cashed. And he was getting made fun about it on Twitter. Like, that's not enough to make fun of someone on Twitter for. You gotta catch him when his lineup is dust, like sitting at the bottom.
Yeah, like show my baseball team last night. Make fun of that.
Yeah, exactly. Like do something like that. So
Big T was thankful. He showed his good sport. He showed the lineup from his good sport. You could have come after him for worse things than that. I mean, Mitch Keller, I'm sure he got less than 0 points. So he was a worse play than Anderson.
That's what I mean. He got negative, I think. They're getting on him for the 0. Like,
what did he finish with? I want to know what he finished with now. Chat, what did he finish with?
I'm going with like -6 is my guess.
There has to be a few.
When Holden Root, this is the truth because I had my DraftKings up as we were on that show. I had both pitchers were at like 10 points. At one time, he was at like 10, and then Holden let out that freaking root ahead of me, and it just plummeted straight into the ground. And he loved every minute of it, too.
It was that Naquin double, I think. It was the first one. It was like the first thing where he let it out, and right after that, Big T's like, now he's getting clobbered.
He even got like a woo in there. He went, whoo, or something.
Oh, man.
All right. Well, we could kill. We got one, Kevin. -7.55.
Yeah, strong effort from Mr. Keller.
I mean, where was the Twitter troll with that screenshot right there?
He should have come with that one. Yeah.
He didn't scroll down far enough to find the team.
Or he just didn't play baseball. Who knows? One or the other. But yeah, you should have went after him for that. But we could kill Holden for the whole show. We're not gonna though, because we got 12 games to talk about, and we wouldn't be able to get to this. So let's talk some baseball, guys. Again, don't forget, hit that like, hit the subscribe. We're gonna bring it to the pitchers first. We'll talk pitchers, and then we'll bring it position by position afterwards. DC, I'll start with you here at the top. Give me your favorite pitchers in this top range.
Yeah, so we have 5 pitchers over 9K, just one over 10K on DraftKings. That's John Means, who's coming off the no-hitter performance against Seattle, a near perfect game, a dropped third strike away from a perfect game for John Means. And I have to admit, I think I've been pretty good with pitching this year in general, but I haven't been on the John Means trend. I haven't played him yet, and so seeing him at over 10K is kind of a sticker shock situation, but like you look into what he's doing, man, he's been just ridiculously good. The underlying metrics all back it up. And, last week we saw 2 no-hitters, one by John Means, one by Wade Miley. And so I feel like it's like not saying much to say that the metrics look so good for Means in that last start because obviously he threw a no-hitter, but like if you compare the 2 no-hitters, they're just worlds apart in terms of how dominant each of the starts actually was. And Means has just been fantastic all year long. I mean, I don't think he's had a swing strike click below 12% in any start. He's leading the majors in first pitch strike rate, so he's getting ahead of every hitter. He's been incredible, and I'm kind of starting to buy into this a little bit. So 10.3K for John Means, it feels like a lot, but the Mets haven't been hitting. It's a great pitching environment in New York, good pitching weather, wind blowing in. So he's my top option, honestly. Coming off 113 pitches, but he did get an extra day of rest. So I think he should be pretty good to go. He's right around 100 pitches every start this year anyway. So I like him. I'm willing to pay for him. And honestly, I don't think many people will be, although interested to hear your guys' take on what the ownership might look to.
I'm interested to hear your take. We got Big T talking trash.
You come on with the microphone that doesn't
God.
work.
So first of all, welcome.
Defending him.
Hold on.
Wars today with Mark Madden, this big punk. Then Big T, all I did last night was just have a little bit of fun. He's Varejao me. We had a bet for $300. I ended up winning. Listen, absolutely nobody thinks that I don't respect Big T. But let me just tell you this, Big T. You lose a bet to me, you're going to hear about it, okay? That's it.
Well, first of all, you need to fix your mic because you sound
why
like
does
shit.
your mic sound
all
like
right.
that?
So
Sorry about that, Big T. I didn't want to hear from you, JSU. You're small time. You're crab cakes. I got Big T over here, Big T. And then you're gonna blame me for Mojo? Come on, man. What is this? The Salem witch trials?
No,
we
you brought
don't
the
believe
bad
in
mojo
bad
for
mojo
sure.
when I'm rooting for. I told you not to start Barzal or Keller.
You
One
were
time
right.
I'm right.
You were
One
definitely
time I'm
right
right,
about
and you
both of
can't
them.
give me a lap. You can't give me a lap, but one time I'm right.
I never said you couldn't take a victory lap. I said don't bring bad mojo to the show.
Oh,
The
good
Twitter,
mojo.
later
Listen,
in the night, if you would have made fun of me and made fun of both, I would have said, go ahead, take your victory lap.
all right, DC. I'm sorry for breaking in on the baseball show.
That's okay, man. You're
I
welcome
can't have my
anytime. It's
name
all good.
besmirched like this.
Yeah,
No,
you got to defend your honor. I get it.
We love to besmirch Mr. Holden.
I know you
so
do. I know
I
you
told a
do.
I
guy
don't
they
really
can't
care.
see their shaft unless it's in the mirror on Twitter. Like,
I mean, that guy deserved it. That's all I can tell you. All right, so I'm going to leave now, just so everybody knows. There's going to be good mojo on the basketball show today. I love Big T. DC, respect the hell out of you. Simon, thanks for having me hop on. Wonderful to see you guys. Bye.
Goodbye.
next time Simon
right.
brings him in, he should just like cut him off and send him out midway.
Yeah, Simon, we got to work on that. Next time, we're gonna.
JC, I saw you
do a
laughing. I
little
thought you were laughing at my John Means analysis. It was very hurtful, but it must have been that Holden was popping on the show.
It was Holden because I saw him making faces. I couldn't help it. I was trying to hold it in, trying to be like, somewhat professional while you were talking before I started like making fun of Holden, and I couldn't help it. He was just like making faces. So back to the baseball talk. The one thing I'll say about Means, and who was the pitcher? Was it Musgrove a little while ago? Had one of these big games where he threw close to a no-hitter, or wasn't it?
Yeah, and then he came back and they let him throw like 70 to 80 pitches. I think this is a different scenario than that. Musgrove.
Talk about that a little.
So that was like a big spike in pitches for Musgrove. I think he went from I think he was throwing around 80 pitches a start, if I recall correctly, and then he jumped up to 118. So he jumped up like 38 pitches from what he was typically throwing. This one, I mean, not that many, right? He has been over 100 pitches already, 100. He threw 113, and like Means isn't he's not really a max effort thrower, right? He kind of sits in the low 90s. Changeup is his best pitch. I expect him to be totally fine here, to be honest. Maybe some wear and tear, could be wrong, but my expectation is he'll be, his velocity won't be down. I don't think he'll be limited in any way. I've dug around a little bit for some type of pitch count or anything. I really don't expect it. It's possible, of course, but yeah.
So this is why I ask, is because, I, like you, I haven't been on the John Means train. Like I haven't jumped on. I've seen the good results he's had throughout the year. I haven't really played him though as much.
Well, yeah.
I feel like I want to play him here. I'm trying to get all the excuses out of the way. Like make sure that like this isn't something I need to worry about, where it can be like, okay, he's 10-3. I'm worried about him coming off. But you're saying I shouldn't really worry about what he did last time going that deep.
Yeah, that's my opinion on the matter.
Okay.
But part of the reason we haven't been on him, I think he's like pitched on a couple Sunday afternoons, maybe. His first couple starts, I wouldn't have been on him his first couple starts. It was at Boston, at New York, at Texas. Maybe you could have been on him there. I don't even remember, when I do if I'm on a show or doing my podcast, I look at every single pitcher, right? And I would have noticed how dominant he's been. So.
That's a good point. Maybe they've just been playing.
I think so. Because I would have noticed. I look at every pitcher and run my models. And when I reran my model today, he was very near the top, just in terms of how dominant he's been. So I'm on board today.
All right, I like it. Good point, Big T. Let's bring it to you, DC. Making some good points on Means. He's not as worried about after him going deep. He talked about that a little bit. What do you think about John Means and then the rest of the top tier pitchers in that 9 and 10K range?
Yeah, I like Means, and I kind of have been on the other side of it. So it's easy for me to play him because it's like when you catch that wave and you were on him a little bit ahead of time and you could just keep playing him. I mean, a couple of these, obviously I played him in the Texas game, going against your guys' bad Texas team that can't hit lefty. So I knew I had him. Oakland, I know I played him one of those Oakland games, but he's just been so good is the most important point that you brought up. And a lot of people might think it's fluky, but like DC said, the numbers are still standing up behind the surface. And I mean, the matchup's good. Everything, it checks all the boxes for me. But you look at some of these other guys up here, Walker Buehler, I haven't played him at all, and he's been pretty good. So it's kind of a little bit of a reverse situation for me here where I haven't played him, and he looks like a good play too tonight, though. I mean, Seattle is a team I like to play people against. Who's our boy Stevie Love? Ty France. I mean, you got to get through the Ty France buzzsaw, but if you can get through him, I mean, you're in decent shape against this Seattle team. And Peralta, last time freaking Peralta got shelled. First 5 guys score. We were even arguing on the show that day, but then he comes back and like strikes out the next 6 guys or something. It just shows the variance of a guy like Peralta. But I like him again tonight too. I mean, if he can get any kind of pitches, I still like his upside. So those would be my 3 at the top.
All right, so Big T's a little more. DC, anything else to add to that 9K range? Because you really just kind of touched on Means. Was there anyone else you liked?
For me, it's Means over Buehler, and I think the ownership will be reversed there. I think Buehler will be the more popular guy, is my guess. So, you know, if I like Means better and I think Buehler is going to be more popular, I won't play any Buehler. You know, it just doesn't make any sense to do it. So, Means is my guy there. Like Peralta, he's capable of a big start, you know, anytime out, and I wouldn't be shocked if he led the slate in fantasy points, but just 73 pitches in that last one. I mean, that was kind of my worry. The last time me and Big T were talking, I think it was Bieber versus Peralta, and I was like, this guy just doesn't have the leash of some of the other studs. I think that's still the case. But, you know, he does have great strikeout stuff when he's on. Like, pretty impressive to bounce back from, I think the 4th guy in the lineup hit a grand slam. Like, the first 3 guys get on, he gives up a grand slam, and he bounces back and strikes out 8. Like, that's impressive and kind of shows you know, his level of talent. McCullers is fine against the Angels. I don't love it. And Stroman, just not enough strikeout upside at 9,100. So up top, Means for me.
Yeah, I kind of agree that the upside when it comes from a strikeout standpoint, when you talk about Freddie, is pretty good. Like, I look at that and I'm like, okay, when I look at the 9 and 10K range, those are definitely guys that I like who have the ability to strike out, you know, 10 guys. Like, he has that ability. Can he get shelled at times? Or, you know, yes, but it was good to see he bounce back after that first inning, which was, you know, that was obviously a really tough inning where he gives up the grand slam and then he bounces back like that with 8 strikeouts. So I like him here. I think for me, it's Means and Peralta are the 2 guys I'm looking at the top. Big T, as we come down to like this 8K range and 7K range, are there any guys catching your eye in those 2 ranges?
Yeah. So, I mean, the middle to low range isn't great today for me. I mean, there's a few guys that I'm not overly excited about, like this Dylan Cease he's looked decent, but I just have never liked him for some reason. Even in the past when he's looked good, I don't know. I just don't – all these plays down in here that look decent, definitely I don't feel super confident. So hopefully DC pushes in a direction. But same thing, like Jordan Montgomery. I think Tampa Bay sucks on offense. Good park, lots of positives with a guy like Jordan Montgomery, but I still, for whatever reason, just don't totally love it. Even Bumgarner has looked really good at times, but I can't play 8,700 for Bumgarner, even against a team like Miami. Probably won't go there. I think the chalky option down low will be Singer, just because people are streaming against Detroit every single day. Whoever Detroit plays, they play the pitcher. I get it too. I mean, he's 5,700, but I don't know. I don't want to play Brady freaking Singer. So I want to hear. I do like this Kim for St. Louis. Milwaukee's another team pick on all year, a lefty against Milwaukee. I like that, but again, I'm not overly convicted on any of these guys. Hopefully DC has some strong guys he likes.
So yeah, you look at Cease and Kim and Singer and Boyd. I'm looking at this range down low. And DC, can we pick some of these guys down low? Is it just like a spend up, spend down spot on DK where you go up and down? Or do you like more of this mid-tier range with the 8K guys?
Yeah, I'm kind of sitting in the 7 to 8K range is kind of where I'm sitting for the most part on DraftKings, along with John Means. But it is a slate. You know, I think I'm going to play 10 lineups in that $111 tournament. I'll have a few different pitchers, like there are definitely 12, 15 game slates where I've just got my two guys rolling them out there and I'm mixing bats around. This isn't that type of slate for me. I will mix in a few different pitchers. So Means up top, that's the only guy I'm going to play above 9K. I'm fairly certain on that. But if you go to this 8K range, you guys mentioned a few of them. Kenta Maeda, he's been pretty rough this year, but did bounce back against Texas. I'm still a believer long-term. Talked about him before that start. It's just a matter of locating the slider, which that's something that can come and go. It seems like he kind of got it back on track a little bit in his last start. Chicago really hasn't been that great. They've lost a couple of their best hitters early on in the year with Luis Robert, Eloy Jimenez. So I don't mind picking on them a little bit, Maeda. And then in that same game, Dylan Cease, Big T mentioned him. So he, prior to the season, during spring training, he was kind of mentioned in the same sentences as Carlos Rodon, as someone that the new Chicago White Sox pitching coach was going to fix with, this new technology, getting his spin rate back up, changing his mechanics. It didn't really stick for Dylan Cease's first few starts. Obviously, Carlos Rodon has been like one of the very, very best pitchers in baseball, but these last couple of starts have changed for Cease. His spin rate's back up. His command looks much better. 2 starts in a row now against not great. Well, Cincinnati was really good, but 11 strikeouts, 9 strikeouts. Now he gets a Twins team that they're pretty good, but they've lost some guys too, right? Like they're not fully healthy at the moment either. Buxton is out, Kirilloff is out. So I don't mind Dylan Cease at 7K. He's certainly risky because you just don't know exactly what version you're going to get. But he can definitely get it done. If he's on his game, he's got great stuff. He can strike out 10 guys. There's no question in my mind. If he's on this game, it's kind of hard to predict that. So Maeda, Cease, I think are both good options. And then I'm willing to play Robbie Ray here. I've talked about him the last couple starts. He's a new pitcher. He just is. His velocity is up. He's pounding the strike zone. Like it's hard for me to even express just how big of a change there is in terms of how many pitches he's throwing in the zone in previous years where he struggled to now. And if you look at the strikeout rates from previous years, they're absurdly high. One of the highest strikeout rate pitchers in baseball. Now he's throwing a ton of strikes, not walking anybody. Atlanta's got some scary bats, and Atlanta has one of the highest team totals on this slate. But if Ray's on his game, he'll, he can shut this team down. And I mean, these numbers won't hold. But for now, Atlanta has been the second worst team in baseball against lefties, a 55 WRC plus. That means they're 45% below average against lefties, a 27% strikeout rate. That's, I think, 4th highest in baseball, something like that. And Ray's been good. I think he is good right now. So I'm willing to play him. I think he'll be super low owned at 7,800.
All right. Big T, Robbie Ray talk here. What do you think of the Robbie Ray talk?
So I don't throw numbers out very often, if ever, but as DC was talking about Ray, I just pulled up just again, short sample, but I buy into short samples more than probably almost anyone in baseball. I'm fine with it. Like looking at 2021 numbers just this season, these K rates for Atlanta, like DC said, versus lefties is outrageous. A lot of them are only 20 to 30 sample. But still, that's what they've done versus lefties. Robbie Ray's shown K upside. I mean, outside of Acuna, the rest of the team is in the 30s and 40s for the most part. I mean, the K rate is definitely there. And
this is, the Ray thing is a weird one for me because I actually don't like the Braves numbers have been awful against lefties. I don't really think that's going to continue because if you just look at who these hitters are, right? Acuna obviously going to smash lefties. We know Freeman, long history of hitting lefties. Ozzie Albies, the last few years has been one of the best hitters against lefties in, on the planet in baseball. I think Austin Riley can hit them. I think Swanson can hit them. I think William Contreras can hit. So like, I'm a little bit worried. This is more of a play for me on Robbie Ray than it is the matchup. I guess I would put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, you're never going to be comfortable against a team like Atlanta. Our boy Freddie finally woke up this weekend, hit a couple bombs.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I mean about a lot of these pitchers in here. Like, I basically agree with what you said, where you're going to spread them around. And I do think a few of these guys will go off for sure, but I also think a few of them are going to get shelled. Cease, I like that. You brought that up, though, about what they thought coming into the year. I didn't know any of that. So me, as the narrative field player, if I hear that, you say that, and it takes a few starts to get going, and then he goes for 40 and 37, that makes me like him a lot more.
It makes sense, right? That they were talking about him in the same breath as Rodon, who has never been good either. Rodon has been incredible. It took Cease, it seems like, a while to kind of get there too, but now it's almost like the Rodon success is like more sample size for Cease, which I know that's a weird thing to say, but I kind of believe it.
I believe it after you said it. I'm glad you said it because I love stuff like this, as everyone knows. I like Cease a ton more than I did 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, and he's $7K too. So I mean, that's a nice price tag for someone who we've seen the ceiling, right? 40, like 37.
Back to back. I mean, 37 and 40 is massive.
I mean, listen, Cincinnati's got a great offense. They've got a lot of great lefty hitters. Like,
it's true.
You put up 37 fantasy points against Cincinnati after doing it at the start before, you can do it again. You know what I mean? Like, there's just no question about it. I'm not saying he will, but we're trying to win a GPP here. He could. And so at 7K, you got to get some exposure if you're playing multiple lineups or even one. I would have no problem if you're playing a single bullet using Cease.
Yeah, and you look at this Minnesota team too. I mean, yes, they still have dangerous bat. I'm not trying to say that, but there's no Buxton, right? Kirilloff was starting to come on and be really hot as a hitter. He's not there. Arias. So, like, there are some batters that are out that, you know, you were definitely maybe a little more afraid of. The lineup is maybe a little watered down. Still a good lineup. They still have some good hitters, Polanco and Cruz and Kepler, Donaldson. But I'm just saying,
it's an okay
overall,
walk, but
you know, I could, for 7K, I can take a shot with the type of upside that he has. One other thing I saw in the chat, or is it double player asked, is Boyd 100% healthy? So he was on the IL. This is his first start back, correct, DC?
That's right. Yeah. He's been a weird one because like last year, his problem, or the last couple of years, he's just given up so many home runs. The strikeout upside has been there. This year, the home runs have been gone, but the strikeouts have kind of been down. The results have been good, but I think he's mostly been lucky. His velocity is down from last year, and then he goes on the IL. I can't play him tonight. I know he's cheap. I know he's been pretty good, but I'm worried about his health. I was kind of worried about his health before he left the start after one inning, and now he's back after a minimum stay. So I can't do it tonight.
Okay, because I was gonna ask about a possible Boyd Singer playing them together because they're so cheap and kind of playing the big bats. But okay, you don't really like Boyd as much. We didn't really talk about Singer a ton.
Yeah, he's the last one to talk about because I actually think Singer will be the most popular pitcher on DraftKings tonight.
Okay, so are you in on Singer? Or is he someone that you're going to fade personally? How are you playing that?
Yeah, so it kind of depends on if I'm right about the ownership thing. If he's going to be super heavily owned, I really don't want to, you know, I just don't think he's that good where I want to buy in. He's kind of just a mediocre pitcher to me, you know, just kind of a run-of-the-mill guy. He'll probably give you 90 pitches. And, of course, the matchup with the Tigers is a good one, but Tigers not as bad against pitchers from the right that throw from the right side. I think they have 7 lefties in there. And Singer himself, he's basically only a fastball slider guy, which typically doesn't work out too well against lefties. Again, it's the Tigers. Of course it could work. At 5,700, I think you have to project him pretty well on a point per dollar basis, which is why I'm kind of assuming he's going to be super popular, right? But he's just not that great of a pitcher. And I think this Detroit lineup starting to come around, and they're never going to be good, but starting to hit just a little bit better against righties. So, you know, they gave Berrios some trouble the other day. So I think they've at least got a chance. I actually have at least one Tiger stack in my 10 lineups tonight. So,
yeah, I mean, people are going to see too. I mean, this matchup did happen a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, 32 fantasy points.
32 fantasy points. People are going to see that. And they also know a lot of people, like BigT have said, have been streaming pitchers against Detroit.
Of course.
So it's going to be popular. D-Rock in the chat saying 15% is some projected ownership right now.
He'll be higher than that.
Tony's saying, we got Tony in the chat. He's saying 40%. So I don't know. Big T, what do you think Singer's ownership is going to be tonight?
Oh, yeah, I think it's going to be high. He's going to be – people love paying for a pitcher against Detroit. They love playing a cheap pitcher so they can get the hitters they want.
I mean, there's not an obvious pitcher on this slate, I don't think. You know, like if you're just making your lineup and you start at the top, like there's a chance you're not going to click on any of those top guys. Then you're going to go into the bottom. You see guys like Kenta Maeda struggling. You got Robbie Ray against the Braves. You got Dylan Cease, who's not really been very good in his career overall. And then you get to the bottom and you're like, oh, here we go. Brady Singer against Detroit. Why not? So I think he's going to be very popular. That's my guess.
He has to be. Like, there's no way he's not. He's going to be. I mean, there's no way he's under 30%, but I even think higher.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Yeah. I see 30+% on too. So
Probably
I'm
higher
with you guys.
too. Yeah, I think we might be lowballing it even. Like, everyone's going to look down there, like DC said. See Detroit. See Singer went for 30. See Singer's had some big games. I'm more on DC side though. I mean, I think Detroit has looked better at the plate. They scored a bunch of runs the last, decent stretch. I mean, they're going to still have bad games. They're still going to get mowed here and there. But I don't think they're as bad as people think they are on offense, especially against a guy like Brady Singer. I mean, I would much rather just play some Detroit bats.
Yeah, I mean, it was that series against the Red Sox. Their bats really started to come alive. They smacked around Eovaldi a little bit towards the end of his outing. We got Eric in the chat. He says, "Isn't Buehler obvious?" ? I mean, Walker Buehler. Yeah. He's another guy who's projected, I would assume, to be one of the higher owned pitchers on the slate, and he's
those
under
guys
10K.
At the top have to be similar though, like 20 to 30% range. I think for a lot of those guys at the top.
But my guess, I wouldn't be surprised if Buehler has close to twice the ownership of Means. That's my guess.
Ooh, okay. I don't. Yeah, I mean, I think that he's going to be higher owned for sure. I don't know if it's going to be twice. But
I've been pretty good at the pitcher projections. Like I was calling, DeGrom going to be 80%. Like I don't know. Just when you're looking at this stuff.
Do you see like Buehler at like 30 to 40 and Means at like 15 to 20? Is that how you kind of see it?
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
Okay. I could see that. Tony, you got a take on that?
Yeah. I mean, I think Buehler will definitely be higher. I don't know how much higher though. I definitely think it's closer, at least for me, because I'm going to have tons of teams where I play them both. I mean, I like the guys up top.
Yeah.
Like always. So, I mean, I'm not going to play Singer. I'm definitely going to play some Cease now because of what DC said, but I don't know. Buehler 40 Means like 25 or 30 would be my guess.
Yeah, I don't think Means will be that high, but he could be. It's ownership's obviously kind of a tricky thing, but you got to remember it is 12 games, so it will be spread out. Yeah. But I don't know. Half these pitchers maybe are like totally unrosterable in my opinion. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Before we move on to the hitters, guys, just real quick, top 3 pitchers. I don't care the range. Just give me your top 3 pitchers. Tony, I'll start with you.
I would say Means is my favorite, Buehler second favorite. I mean, and then Peralta would be my third, but after that would be Cease. I might end up using Cease ahead of the top 3 though, just the way roster construction lines up.
DC, top 3?
Yeah, the 3 guys I'll have the most exposure to myself: John Means, Dylan Cease, and Kenta Maeda.
All right, John Means, Dylan Cease, and Kenta Maeda. I agree with you guys on Means. I'm probably going to end up paying double pitcher in one of my 2 lineups. So I'm going to say Buehler because he's probably going to be who I do it with. Outside of that, I like the Cease call. I think DC's kind of pushed me into the Cease range as well. This Kim dude for St. Louis, I keep looking at him against Milwaukee. I don't know if I'm going to get there, but he would be the next guy I'm looking at. I don't know, but we'll see if I had to throw a 4th guy out there. Let's move to the hitters though, guys. We got the catcher position here. And before we get into that, don't forget, guys, if you're not a member at Run Pure Sports and you want to become a member and you want to buy a monthly membership, we have a promo code going right now, RPS Heater 25. It'll get you 25% off your first monthly subscription. So go use the promo code RPS Heater 25, get 25% off any monthly subscription or your first monthly subscription to the site. All right. And don't forget, hit that like button as we keep bringing you guys this content, which is free every day, pretty much Monday through Sunday. DC, let's start with catcher. What do you got?
Yeah, tough position today for sure. I think if you want to completely punt catcher, that's a pretty good option. I know we like Cease, but Rortvedt down there at 2,400 is okay. At the top, I guess Will Smith, probably the top. Actually, no, I'll go JT Realmuto over Will Smith on this slate. Smith has some, I've talked about it a bunch, but some pretty crazy reverse splits where he's been much, much better against righties and lefties over the course of his young career. That's enough to push me away from Smith, who I do think people will see a lefty and want to play him. And I kind of want the opposite when I'm playing Will Smith. So Real Moto as the number one guy up top. I don't know if they're going to play in Coors Field. We haven't talked about that much. It's kind of wet and rainy here and cold, but it seems like they kind of want to, right? They haven't canceled the game yet. They had to postpone yesterday. So I think they're going to try to push to get it in as long as it's not like actually raining, which I don't think it will be. Just my kind of take on the weather.
I mean, you could talk about that because that is actually something big on this slate. It's cold and rainy right now over there.
Yeah, it's like, 40, 45 degrees. And, there's snow on the ground here. I'm 10 miles north of the stadium this morning, and the weather really hasn't changed at all. It's just cold and wet. It has been the last couple of days. They postponed yesterday, doubleheader tomorrow when it's going to be nice. But it seems it's like the forecast hasn't changed in 2 days. They canceled yesterday's game early. The fact that they haven't canceled it yet makes me think that they're just going to play in kind of the miserable conditions. I don't really have a ton of interest, honestly, in rostering hitters in this game because it's going to be cold and wet. But my prediction now is that they do actually play the game.
Do you think that you assume then that the ownership's going to be really low on a lot of these guys then, right?
I don't know. I mean,
okay.
So Dinelson
12-game slate. Lamet and I think you're is it Senzatella? Who's the other?
Yeah, Senzatella, who's horrible, right? And the Padres have a very good lineup. So if they do play, I mean, sure, I don't mind stacking the Padres. Against Senzatella, it'll be cold, but it's still Coors Field. So I do predict that they will play though. That's just the way I see it. Just kind of trying to read the tea leaves, read between the lines a little bit.
Yeah, Tony, you got to take on the Rockies Padres game. Play, not play. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the weather's I look at games like this, like I hope people play it. The weather's miserable.
Yeah.
If it rains out, good for me because I won't be playing it. But even if it plays and soaks up that ownership, I'm not all that worried about the fade. I mean, it's 40 degrees and miserable out there.
Yeah, I hate playing hitters in this type of weather, to be honest.
Especially when, the Padres have to get some ownership if it plays, no doubt. Yeah, maybe not the Rockies.
People are going to see. I mean, Senzatella sucks, and it's Coors Field, and it's the Padres. So I think people, you can always swap off them. There's enough late games, so I do think they'll get a decent amount of ownership.
Yeah, the only thing that could possibly keep off some of the main ones like Machado and Tatis, maybe the price tags, maybe, and the fact that they don't know about the game. But some of these other guys, if they're in the lineup, are still somewhat cheap. Carantini at catcher, if he was to be in, or Nola. Decent. So it'll be interesting.
But the last comment on the game, I think if the game plays, right, if you want to roster Padres or Rockies hitters and they decide to play the game and start the game, it'll play. It's not going to pick up rain in the middle of the game, right? It's just a decision of do they want to play in this miserable weather or not. It seems like they do because it's not going to change, and they could have just postponed it already.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the decent thing is there's at least 2 other games to pivot to if the game ends up not working out and you get worried late. You can just pivot to 2 of the later games, which there are. So that is one good thing, I guess, you can do.
Sure.
But Big T, let's bring it to you. Catcher position. You want to hit on your favorite catchers?
Yeah, so catcher is tough today, like DC said. Some of my favorite options are against pitchers that we kind of like. I mean, James McCann against the lefty gets the means game. I mean, where if you're playing means, you're probably not going to want a catcher there. But I like James McCann against lefties. I always have decent leverage against means, too, if he can somehow take him yard once or twice. I don't mind that. Zunino against Montgomery, 3,800. Another guy that I like to play against lefties. I mean, I'm looking at the top. I mean, Gary Sanchez finally hit a bomb the other day. You can definitely play him. Nothing sticks out, though. I mean, it's one of those days where, I mean, if you spend up, maybe you play Sal Perez at 45. Yan Gomes has been good for 41, but you want to pay 4,100 for Gomes when you can just punt whoever down there on one of your stacks or something? I'd probably choose the savings, but if I had to go up, that would be where. I mean, Contreras against Ray, another guy we like Ray a little bit, 3,600 though. I don't know. I guess the punt guy I would play would be Grayson Griner, or however you say his last name, against Singer. Kind of a little leverage there too. So 2,800 in that cheap range. And I've seen him do good here and there. So I don't hate that as a cheap catcher.
Yeah, that's JT's boy from last year. JT loved Mr. Griner. Did you guys mention Sal Perez hitting 3-hole against Boyd? I kind of like him. I know DC not having confidence in Boyd makes me feel a little more comfortable about rostering some of these KC guys. So 4,500. I mean, we've seen his price tag in the 5K range, and he's getting the lefty matchup. So I don't mind Perez. I think Yan Gomes is actually a decent play. I know he's expensive now. He's not like 3,200 or 35, but Anderson, I'm pretty sure, is more of a reverse splits kind of guy. I think Yan Gomes has been hitting decent at the plate. So I like those two guys as my favorite. Let's move on though. First base, DC. Let's start again with you. What are you liking at the first base?
At the top end, I won't play Freddie Freeman lefty on lefty against Robbie Ray. Just believe in him too much and prefer Freeman, of course, against right-handed pitchers. So hopefully Freeman's got it back going, but not tonight for me. Top end, Vladimir Guerrero is the guy I want. I got a lot of confidence in the Blue Jays. Bryce Wilson, not any good. Vladimir, I don't care really if he's facing righties or lefties. He hasn't shown much splits. This year, other years in the minors, he just seems like he kind of just mashes everybody. So he's a great option. And then this is going to be another contrarian take, but I really like the Astros tonight. They let us down a little bit last night after a hot start. They go up against Shohei Ohtani, who obviously has a ton of talent, but he's also averaging 9.3 walks per 9 innings on the year. And the big thing with Ohtani, right? He just has so much trouble throwing strikes. He kind of loses his mechanics. I mean, he just doesn't get to practice pitching as much as other pitchers because he's a hitter too. And he's super wild. I love stacking against wild guys because, you turn the lineup over faster. We've seen it many times from Ohtani, including this year, I think twice, where he just completely loses it, can only get through an inning or two, walking everybody. And then the Angels bullpen is just absolutely gassed at this point. The Astros have the lowest chase rate in baseball, right? For a pitcher like Ohtani, who's constantly throwing outside of the zone, these Astros aren't chasing any of those pitchers. I could easily see Ohtani walking, 5 guys in 2 innings. He's out of there. They got no one in the bullpen. Anyway, Yuri Gurriel is why I was ranting about the Astros there. I think he's a good play. I like all the Astros. And then, if Coors plays, Eric Hosmer looks good. So, yeah, some decent options up top for sure.
Big T, what are we doing at first? Any Freddie Freeman love? Lefty?
I mean, if I landed on him, I wouldn't be scared to click the button, but I'm not going to force him in at 5,600 lefty. There are some slates where I would do this if it worked and we didn't want to pay for any pitchers, or I don't know the exact slate, but probably not tonight, not for that price. There's a bunch of guys in the cheaper range too. Yeah. And like DC said, Houston has been a team that I've always liked. I love stacking, as we all do. I mean, they score runs. They got upside. Coming off last night, let us down. Definitely. Gurriel, no one ever plays him because he's somewhat expensive for him. He usually hits in the 5 or 6 hole. I think tonight he's in the 5 hole. But I love that. Anytime I can get Houston bats, love that. So I'm with DC there. We get Luke Voit, I think should be back in the lineup tonight. He's looked pretty good in just the stuff that I've heard and seen.
Yeah, I think he's going to be good to go. Yep. I would expect same Luke Voit as always.
So 3,700, you have to like that. I mean, we've kind of been on the Yankees a decent amount. They've really got the offense going. One sneaky team, I mean, Garrett Cooper and Aguilar, both from Miami, both in Arizona against a bad lefty like Bumgarner. Bumgarner's been pretty good at times, but you never know when he could get shellacked by a team like Miami in a low-owned spot.
Yeah.
So both of those guys, Garrett Cooper especially at 3,800, feels like a very, very good play to me as a sneaky guy tonight.
Yeah, and Aguilar was in the 5K range for a little bit here and dropped down to 4.6K. So I like that call there at first base. And then the Luke Voit call. Interesting if he's back in the lineup. Definitely going to look at him. I'm so mad Blue Jays lineup. My boy Rowdy Tellez isn't in the lineup. I love
they
that
never
guy.
play him anymore. He gets like hardly any run.
And he's 2.7K. I thought I was going to get to play him in the 8 hole again. No one ever plays him when he's like not hitting high in the order. Like the dude's just got massive power when he's under 3K. I don't get it. But,
DC, what do you do when these teams like Toronto that depend on the DH go to the National League parks? Do you lower the stack at all?
You got to a little bit, right? I mean, you get the pitcher in there, and like he's gonna you just kind of kill the stack a little bit. So yeah, I think that's fair. Other guy I wanted to mention at first base, Matt Olson, I think is a really strong play against Eovaldi in Boston.
I love that. I like that call, Matt Olson. He's cheap too, 4.1. That's a nice price tag on Matt Olson.
Yeah, I think maybe the top option when you consider price and everything else for me.
Yeah, I like it. Tony, no Brad Miller love before we move on.
Big platoon.
Is he in the lineup?
He's in the lineup. He's hitting fifth.
What team is he on again?
Philly. And he's
Eddie. Oh yeah, he's got to be on Brad Miller here.
I don't know why, but
quintessential Big T play.
3K.
This is where DC makes fun of me, and I'm fine with it because he knows more about baseball and pitchers than me. But I kind of like Fetty a little bit. I forgot about him when we were talking about pitch. I've stacked against him a few times this year, and he's owned me both times. He's actually looked somewhat decent.
Then you can use him tonight, and he'll own you a third time.
The opposite direction.
Yeah. Chasing your tail over there, Big T.
If you don't like Fetty, then yeah, I always like Brad Miller against the
Fetty's not good.
There you go. DC, you putting the stamp of approval on Brad Miller at 3K?
I've heard worse plays from Big T, that's for sure.
Oh boy! All right, now I'm into it. I like it.
I heard he deleted him from my player pool too. I didn't even.
So
see
we got D-Rock, Kevin in the chat. They're saying Tatis to the IL. That's not good. It's not good for that team. Bad for the Padres. Let's move on though. Second base. We haven't hit shortstop yet. Second base, Big T. We'll start with you. What are you thinking here? Anything at the top, or is this more a spend down spot?
Yeah, if we go with our Houston stack, you're going to have to like Altuve at the top. I mean, I love Houston with DC. I'm always going to. I don't think there'll be a single day all year where I say
they're not going to be owned either. I mean, I'm telling you, like this. There was a good story, right? Like Ohtani's wildness, a tired bullpen. I mean, it makes so much sense. They don't chase any pitches. Like Ohtani and like Altuve, all he's got to do is stand there, and he's walking to first base to start the game because Ohtani's not gonna. He's like 5'2". Come on, he's not gonna be able to throw strikes in there. We got some Jordan. Jordan owes me some money from last night. He's gonna come through.
Were we making short jokes? I got cut out for a second. Were we making short jokes there?
We're making
DC?
some short jokes. Yeah.
Come on,
not with me. At you. I was just talking about Altuve.
Who was it? Someone posted in the chat something about Altuve. He posted a picture, and it was him standing like with the bat. And man, he does look short in those pictures when he's standing when he's standing next to someone though, like someone who's like 6. Man, he looks small. It's like, oh God, you know a guy like I knew Altuve was a little guy, but when you see him next to someone else, it just you don't even realize it. But man, he's small.
More power to him. You can somehow hit a baseball 450 feet when he's like 5'4". Like,
you can tell he's like kind of built, right? You can.
I know, but still, man, it's impressive.
No, it's definitely impressive. Big T, anything else before we move to DC?
I mean, so the rest of the guys at the top that DC already talked about a little bit, like Ozzie Albies always against the lefties, solid. I mean, 40.
You're not on Ty France.
Yeah, Ty, you can't ever forget Ty France when you lead off any discussion when it involves just power hitting. You got to talk about Ty France and his 123 WRC plus or whatever is freaking. But I don't know. I don't love second base besides Altuve. You got a few guys in the cheaper range, like these Detroit guys like Harold Castro or 3K. But I mean, I don't want to play Harold Castro for the most part. So I think I'll stay at the top.
Yeah, guys in the chat, I'm 5'6". All right, get it right. Not 5'4". I'm not 5'8". I'm 5'6". Right in the middle. So I'll take 5'6".
Right in the middle of what?
5'8", 5'4". I'm 5'6".
That's the same thing.
5'6". There were people posting like how there were people.
You said right in the middle is the funny part.
There were people asking though in the chat like 5'4", 5'8", 5'5", 5'6". I had to answer 5'6". Right,
in
Big
the
T?
middle.
Right in the middle. I'm taking the middle. DC,
I'm pretty sure 5'6" is at the bottom, first of all.
Oh, will you stop it? God, this is the worst. DC, are you tall? Are you 6 feet?
Yeah, 6 feet even.
Damn you. All right. Okay.
Evan said, my mom's taller than you, JS.
Oh goodness. Well, I'm happy for your mother. Okay. I wish I was taller. Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate it. DC, besides Altuve, anyone else at second base we're looking at?
I mean, I can't remember the last time I didn't play Ozzie Albies against a lefty, and I don't think I'm going to tonight. So rest assured, he will hit a home run. I won't have him, but he's going yard. Jed Lowry, I kind of like Oakland a little bit against Eovaldi, who's kind of fallen apart a little bit recently. I don't think anybody's going to play Oakland, but man, going to Fenway, what a park upgrade from Oakland to Fenway. Looks like pretty good weather there too. So Jed Lowry, I think, is a good play. I kind of like the Cardinals too a little bit against Peralta. Just we've seen that he can kind of fall apart at times. So yeah, Tommy Edman leading off, I think, is okay. But yeah, kind of a tough position here for sure.
Yeah, I mean, interesting. Tony likes the St. Louis stack a little bit against your boy Freddie. I can't do it. I can't do the St. Louis stack against Freddie.
I'm not going to be riding with DC on the St.
Yeah, I won't have that much St. Louis.
I like the Ozzie Albies call though. I could get on board with some
definitely
Ozzie.
get on board with the Albies call.
I'll have a little bit of Albies. I have to. I can't stomach a home run, 2 home runs from him, and I don't have him when I've played him against every single lefty for like 3 years running. So a lot of respect for Robbie Ray, but not that much respect.
Any love for Whit Merrifield here?
Always love Whit.
Yeah, got to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I like Whit for sure. Yep.
Oh God, the chat's gone off the rails. Reggie's big. Yeah, he's a big dude. Big dog, Reggie is. But no, my girlfriend is not taller than me. I've said this how many times? She
actually might be taller than you.
No, she's not, Tony. Stop it. I've never dated a woman.
Stronger and taller.
I've never dated a woman who is taller than me. Never in my life. I
guarantee she owns you on the bench.
Yeah, so are you one of those dudes on the Tinder app? You list your height as like 6'2", and then you show up and you're 5'6", and you're like, I don't know what happened.
So truth, never been on Tinder or anything else. I've never been on any of those apps. But I will say I would have definitely lied about my height. I would have definitely put like if I was on one of those, I would have definitely put like 5'8" or 5'9".
One of the most discouraging moments of my life. I was on the Tinder app. And, I get some messages, but I'm not the greatest looking dude in the world. And then as a joke, I changed my profile picture to Randone and said I was on The Bachelorette and was Chris Randone on Tinder. I was getting matches left and right coming in there. Man, I didn't know I was this ugly.
Oh, God. Damn, though, if I ever become single, that's the trick right there.
My bio was like,
pretend I'm single.
You may have seen me on ABC.
The phone was just blowing up.
Oh God!
I had to turn off notifications because my battery was running low on my phone. It was a tough time.
I love that. All right, enough of this. Let's move on to the baseball talk. Third base, DC. We'll start with you. Who you got?
Yeah, hard not to go back to Rafael Devers. Tough game last night, but treated us well in general. Justin Turner against the lefty. Kikuchi, I'm not scared of him. Turner's been a monster this year, so good options up top. Bregman out of the lineup. I guess that gets our Houston stack a little bit cheaper, so that's fine. I think mostly a spend position for me here, Turner being my top guy. And then, if you're going to that Detroit stack with me, I think Candelario might have got scratched, but I was on him previously. But yeah, Justin Turner, the guy that I'm trying to get in as many lineups as I can.
All right, Justin Turner. I like that. Big T, third base. We going down or up?
Yeah, I mean, looking in the top range, outside of DJ LeMahieu, I don't see anything I like there. I mean, if I play the Yankees, I'll definitely consider DJ, but I'm not going to play him as a one-off or something. My favorite guy in the top is always Yoan Moncada. I love Moncada, even against a guy like Maeda. The nice thing is no one will play Moncada tonight, which anytime I can get Moncada against a righty at 1% owned, definitely always love that as a kind of leverage.
I like Maeda, but I like that Moncada call too.
And I mean, after that, like you got these guys in the Arizona game as Drubel. I like him. Brian Anderson. Miami's kind of a sneaky stack tonight. They got a bunch. Yeah. I think we talked about this early in the year too, where Miami just kept facing righty. Now we finally get them versus a lefty where you look at this lineup and it's in a plus ballpark like Arizona. I think they're built to beat a lefty like Bumgarner. They're going to be low owned too. So I definitely like Brian Anderson a lot tonight.
I like it. One other guy I'm looking at, Hunter Dozier against Boyd, 3,800. He's third and outfield eligible, so you can play him at third or in the outfield, but I like him.
You're on these Casey bats. You're on these Casey bats, Jason.
He is loving.
I see where you're going.
Yeah. So honestly, I've been back and forth on whether to play Boyd or stack KC all morning, and then you telling me that you're not as confident in Boyd kind of helped me to push me along, because at first I was like, maybe I'll just play one or two, like Perez and one other guy.
I might have to join you on this KC train. I kind of like this call.
Well, you look at it like Solaire's cheap. Like they just have a bunch of cheap guys. They got a really good catcher play. You know what I mean? And Perez.
Yeah.
So it's like a perfect spot to get like 3 or 4 of their bats and just
I like it.
Maybe even 5 if you want to add. If you want Witt and the obvious guys, and then like one of the cheap guys. But
sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on them. Anyone else? I think that's it at third base that I was looking at. Let's move on to shortstop, where we just found out if you were going to play the Coors game and you wanted to roster Fernando Tatis, you cannot now because he's on the IL along with well, you could. I guess you could, but you shouldn't. With Profar, they're both on the IL, so they're out for San Diego. But let's start here. Shortstop position, Big T at the top. Anything you're liking?
At the top with Freddie Galvis. Is he at the top?
No,
he's in the middle.
No. So the guys at the top are like Trey Turner and Trevor Story and Bogarts, like those guys, you know.
I mean,
and then we get to the
Galvis should
next
be up
level.
there with them. So
as
long as he's 30.
Wait a second, hold on. He should be 5. He should be 5'6". Is that what you're saying? Or right in between? Like,
no,
he should
like
be in the middle.
Be 5'7". If Trey Turner's 5'6", Freddie Galvis should be 5'7". But
our boy G Risen wouldn't like that. He's probably in the chat somewhere. He's screaming.
I mean, I definitely like Freddie tonight. But Rojas, he's in my Miami. He should be probably in the one hole for 4,700. No one is going to play this Miami stack, and I like it a lot. I mean, no one's playing Rojas at 4,700.
No.
Like, literally no way. So, I mean, I like that.
You got them all to yourself.
Yeah, I'm gonna have it. Which is that's how I like it. I like having Rojas all alone. But Houston Correa, no one ever plays Correa either because he's always in the 6 hole. You always want to play these guys like how we know people stack 1 through 5 with Houston. Although maybe with Bregman out tonight, maybe they slide down a little more. But either way, Correa for the Houston stack is gonna be low owned. Love Correa. Love Houston. And Nico Goodrum against Singer, I don't mind him either at 4,200. No one's going to play. All the guys I like at shortstop, no one's going to play, so that's a good thing.
There you go. I'm seeing some stuff. Nat in the chat saying MLB making an announcement on the Yankees-Tampa game. New York coach tested positive today for COVID. So
Yankees, 5 coaches with COVID, it says.
Ooh, okay.
Just play the game, whatever. They'll be fine. It's going.
All right. Well, DC just like, all right, just play the game anyways. You don't need coaches to play the baseball game, all right?
Seriously. Come on now.
Shortstop DC, what are we looking at here? Freddie Galvis at 5'6", you like him?
Yeah, man, any price for free money, Freddie Galvis. I'm with Big T. I'm a Freddie Galvis fan. Good play at 3,400 for sure.
He has crushed all year, though. I know we started out as a joke, and DC, I'll give him credit, though. When I brought it up the first day, usually he makes fun of me. He actually liked the Galvis call. This was day 1 when I came, and then ever since then, he's totally smashed. Probably as hot as anyone in baseball.
Yeah, give me some Freddie Galvis. You know what? I'll join Big T on the Miguel Rojas train too. A couple shout outs, hat tips to Big T, if you will. And if you want to go double Rojas in the Miami Arizona game, Josh Rojas should be in there. I think probably hitting second against Pablo Lopez. I don't know if the roof's going to be open there. I think it might be based on what I looked at the weather. If it is, it's going to be 85, 90 degrees and big boost to those Miami, Arizona bats. If that roof is indeed open, Josh Rojas really coming around. I think he's going to be a fantasy stud basically. And he will be unowned as well. I don't think people are playing Arizona much. So yeah, maybe a little bit of a value position here. And then of course, if you're stacking Houston, probably have Carlos Correa in that stack as well.
I like it. DFS production. No, I played third base actually on my Little League team and Little League All-Star team. I played third base. All right. I tried the shortstop. I wasn't the best athlete though on the team. The best athlete is the shortstop when you're young. That's for sure. Well, probably in baseball too. Most of the time, the best athlete is the shortstop, I would assume. But that was the case for sure when you were little. The kid who was the most talented, they put there. I was not the most talented when it came to baseball. That'll do it for shortstop.
I heard that. I heard you say the best. I played shortstop, and the best player played shortstop. I heard it.
No, I didn't play shortstop.
You said when you were younger?
Shortstop. No, I did not. I played third base. The best player played shortstop. I was never the best player on my Little League team. Never. Baseball wasn't my sport. I tried it. I tried it for a few years. I did okay, but was not the best. Big T, were you a baseball player?
I was when I was younger, but then I stopped playing, and I played on a traveling team like 6th, 7th, and 8th, and then I stopped playing. I didn't play in high school.
Did you hit bombs?
I had some power. Yeah, I had some power. I wasn't the quickest, as you can imagine. I was not really a speedster, but I had some power.
Yeah, you look like a prototypical first baseman, Big T.
Yeah, I used to be skinny, believe it or not, when I was in those ages. So it looked a little.
Yeah, but you were tall. You were tall though. Yeah, DC, were you a Little League All-Star, Little League baseball player?
Yeah, I played. I played a lot of baseball growing up. You had to choose once you got to, high school basically between soccer and baseball in terms of like the traveling teams or whatever. But I did play again my senior year in high school. Was still an okay pitcher, which I was best at. It was never a great hitter though.
There you go. Yeah, the hitting was what I struggled at too. I could do all the fielding stuff. Put me almost anywhere, but the hitting I was definitely not as good at.
I didn't get to face enough lefties. I was a big platoon guy. I needed to face more lefties.
I was a big platoon guy.
DC reminded me though when he said the senior, because I was decent like all growing up, so I just remembered being good. My senior year, just like DC, everyone, because basketball was over when baseball would start, and we just did good in basketball. So everyone's like, "You need to come play baseball," blah blah blah, and I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like thinking I'm gonna crush. I went out there. I was so bad. I went one day, never came back. It was so terrible.
That's great. Yeah, I cut
it from 8th grade. I'll tell you that much.
Big T was like, it was so much easier when they weren't throwing like 75.
I fully expected to crush. Like in my head, I was gonna hit bombs, and it didn't.
Oh, that's so good. All right, let's move on to the outfield. Guys, before we do that, though, don't forget, hit that like button. We got 565 watching here, only 162 likes. Let's go. Let's get that like button going. Big T, we'll start off with you in the outfield here at the top.
Yeah, I mean, every time we do these shows, I freaking hate talking about outfield. You can play so many guys.
Well, don't give 100 plays.
I mean, but it all depends on your roster construction. Like, I don't know how to say one dude. Like, so I always look in the cheap range because they're what I end up like plugging in. You got Nomar Mazara against Singer for 2,200.
Yeah.
I mean, that sticks off the page because it gets you a little leverage too, obviously, to all the Singer ownership. It gives you some savings. Love that. You can always play Franchi Cordero. I feel like we bring him up every single show.
I gave up on him. I was on him early on.
Are we giving up on him?
I gave up. I gave up like 3 weeks ago on Franchi Cordero. I mean, the dude never does anything. So at a certain point, it's like, all right, I was wrong.
Got your boy too, Trevor Lamich, or whatever. Is that how you say it?
Yeah, there's a bunch of cheap guys. So you mentioned Mazara at 2,200. Trevor Larnach for the Twins. I mean, I was on the Kirilloff train when he was 2K. Larnach, I think, is a similar type of hitter, a lot of power from the left side. He's a great play at 2K, no question about it. And then Tyrone Taylor, rather, not the 49ers wide receiver, but he's 2K2. I mean, I don't think Milwaukee's lineup is out yet, but I think he'll be hitting third against Kim, who I'm not a huge believer in. So you can go, if you want, 2K, 2,200 in the outfield with 3 good plays there.
Yeah, Trent Taylor, if I envision myself as any type of football player, it would be him. That's the guy I would
a little quick slot guy that's going to get concussed the first time a safety hits him.
Yes, exactly. Which is the complete reason why I think my mother never let me play football ever, was because she was terrified I would get concussed like multiple times. Yeah, she was smart. I would have definitely got concussed like multiple times. So we'll just end it there. Yeah, the outfield, it is a tough position, right? Because it kind of depends a little on first, like if you're stacking and, there are just so many good plays here. You guys talked up Houston all day. I mean, Yordan Alvarez, I don't know how you don't look at him if you're
all
stacking
three Houston guys, Brantley, Alvarez, Tucker, all good plays.
Yeah, all
Tucker's
of them
got
are
it going
really
finally,
plays.
too. We waited all year for him to get it going. Finally got it going a little bit the last couple of days, so keep your eye on that.
Yep, for sure. I talked about the KC bats, so I'm going to look at Soler. Dozier's outfield eligible too. Anyone else here I'm missing?
So my Miami stack, if you're in that range like me, I love Adam Duvall at 4,100. He's killed lefties for a while now. Great spot. Miami just sticks out to me in a lot of. I love the teams where like you get to like 6 different positions and you always like the guy. That's when you know you should like the stack. That's where I'm at with Miami.
That's like JSU with the Royals.
With the Royals, there's the 2 teams, the Royals.
And, if you like 6 guys from your team, you got to go ahead and stack them up. There you go.
That's how you, when you do these shows, you just figure out who you like by the time you're finished with all the positions. You're like, oh, I said
story of my life.
Okay. But
I'm on with DC. I steal all his pitchers. I steal all JSU stacks, and I go to the winner's circle.
I mean, that's a good way to do it. Just steal everything and go to the winner's table at the end of the day. That's what we want to be. So Seth Brown was another guy I'm actually going to look at against Eovaldi. Man, when I watched Eovaldi pitch against Detroit, nothing was more front. He just he couldn't finish guys. Like by the 3rd or 4th inning, he was just struggling, putting guys away. And then he had that huge long inning. I think it was the 5th inning. I might be wrong, but where Detroit literally just hit him around and he would get 2 strikes on guys and then he just couldn't put him away. He couldn't finish them.
I've seen Detroit. That's kind of the reason I like them a little bit. I'm off singer for the most part. I've seen them do that to a bunch of pretty good pitchers. So they did to Eovaldi, they did it to Jose Barrios. It seems like they're coming around a little bit. I'm sure they're gonna, get shut out and strike out 20 times a night. But I got a little bit of faith in them here.
They've done that. So I mean, that's why I'm not okay, I'm locking in Brady Singer at that price tag. I don't really know honestly what I'm going to do with him. Right now, I think I'm leaning towards the not playing as much of him, but I don't know. I'm not going to play Detroit either, though, which I don't know. Maybe that's wrong.
Leave all the Akil Baddoo to me and Big T. That's all good.
I don't mind playing a one-off. I'm not going to stack them though. I could play a one-off Detroit guy, like the catcher or Baddoo. Are you on Baddoo? Is that one of your guys?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
okay.
Baddoo, Grossman, Castro, Goodrum. What a
we got good mojo. This is how good mojo forms.
what a team. Let's go Tigers.
God, we just gave the Tigers, Miami,
and Kansas City. We're on fire today. That's what we do.
Does anyone like any good teams outside of Houston? Is there anyone?
Yeah, we're on Houston.
No, that's right. I said outside of them. Is there any other good team we're on?
I can't fit anyone else around all these Tigers in my lineup. So no, just the Tigers.
All right, there you go. I think we've pretty much hit every single spot here for this baseball show. Last thing we'll do before we get out of here, since we already gave our favorite stacks, I literally just listed all 4 of them. I'm pretty sure, unless DC, am I missing anyone besides Houston, KC, Detroit, and Miami?
Sounds about right. I like the Phillies a little bit against Eric Fetty as well.
All right, there. Add the Phillies in. Big T, am I missing anyone?
No, I mean, outside of just the normal, if you're playing a bunch of teams and you don't like John Means, I would probably have a little bit of the Mets stack if you don't trust that he's been good. But that's just normal, like game theory stuff. If you hate a chalk pitcher or a high price pitcher, you should leverage a little bit against them. So yeah.
One thing with that theory too, just real quick, when we have like a good pitcher on the slate, I don't mind full stacking against them, but I'll tend to mini stack more than full stack against the good
I like
pitchers.
taking the best one off against the best, like.
So I'll take like Pete
pitcher.
Alonso
Yes.
from the Mets. I'll take him, and maybe I'll pair him with the catcher, right? And I'll have like those two guys. And then
I like that
if
tonight. That looks tasty tonight. Alonso and McCann.
Yeah, 100%.
But if it's a bad pitcher like Singer, I could get on board with, or not a bad pitcher, but like he's not like a really good pitcher. He's 5'8". Like I could get on board with the full stack just because, he is not like one of those top tier pitchers Brady Singer is. So I think that's one type of thing when you're thinking about like getting leverage against a chalk pitcher, you got to remember who you're doing that with. Like what type of tier pitcher are you looking at? Because I'm fine with doing it with most pitchers on any night, but you gotta, go a little easier depending on who it is.
I got bad news.
What?
Siege texted me.
Oh no. Siege got your number too. What'd he say?
He said we're on all the same MLB plays.
Uh-oh.
This is bad. This is real bad.
Simon, can we restart the show? So we need to restart the show, guys. We need 10 minutes to think about this. Get 4 different teams to be on. Well, and then we'll come back.
Got to make sure I get unregistered before these tournaments fill so I can get out of them.
All right. Let's go. Finish it out. Top pitcher and top hitter, and then we'll get out of here. Big T, let's start with you. If you could only pick one pitcher and one hitter, who are the boys?
The one pitcher, man, so I was on Means the whole time, but just for argument's sake, DC sold me on Cease. So if I have to pick just one guy tonight, I'm going to go with Cease, I think. I just like 40 and 37. How many pitchers in baseball even have that kind of upside? There's not many.
Not that many, to be honest.
Even if they throw like great games, it's tough to get to 40 and 37. Those are big boy numbers. I'm going to take our chances that maybe DC's onto something here, and we kind of catch this on the way, the right side of the volume before everyone realizes it, and all of a sudden he's 10K or something,
Sure.
and everyone realizes he's good. So DC got me on there. Definitely going with him as my favorite pitcher. And then hitters, give me Kyle Tucker in the 7 hole. He's going to be maybe a little bit of ownership, but we love Houston. I talked about him getting it going 2 days ago or 3 days ago, whatever it is now. He looks good at the plate. His price tag's great. We love Houston. Sign me up for Tucker.
All right, Kyle Tucker and Dylan Cease, our Big T's guys. DC, we got pitcher hitter.
Yeah, a pitcher, I don't do this often, but because I think he's going to be relatively low and I'm going all the way to the top. John Means, I'm a believer at this point. I think he spins another gem. I'm not worried about the increased pitch count from the no-hitter. I think some people might be. The Mets haven't been hitting. I'm liking John Means. Of course, I'm with Big T on the C's call. I'll have plenty of him as well. For hitters, I'm going to give you the value outfield 3-pack. Costs you a grand total of 6.2K in DraftKings salary. Tyrone Taylor, Nomar Mazara, Trevor Larnach. All 3 guys going deep tonight.
That would be a good call there.
I love that. So, for me, I like both the pitchers that you guys said, so I think I'm just going to give you both of them together, Dylan Cease and John Means, as a nice little combo
love it.
pitching play. I'll take that.
Welcome aboard. Good mojo.
And then I'm going to give a nice little mini stack as well for the KC. If you're not going to full stack them, I like Sal Perez and Soler in that 3-4 mini stack. Nice and cheap too. I mean, Perez is 4.5, but Soler is, I think, 3.1 in the outfield. So I like those 2 guys. I'm going there. 3.2, sorry, for Soler. So give me those 2 guys. I'm on the KC Pats, obviously, so I'll take them as my plays of the day. All right, that's going to do it. We got an NBA show coming up. I think it starts in a few minutes, so we got to get out of here. And then also, if you're members, we'll have the final countdown with me, Holden, and Big T. I think will join us as well. So we'll be doing that at 6:15 Eastern time. So we'll see you guys then. Stay tuned for the 5 o'clock Hardwood show, which is going to start in a few minutes. For me, JSU, Big T, and DC, thanks for hanging out. We'll see you next time.